This is my first commander deck ever. I don't know if I'd call it a deck tech per se, but more of a deck walkthrough. Let's get into it. Inside is my commander, Edgar Markov, and I got him from my friend Tyler, who played with us at the GP. And after the GP, we had some good cards that he wanted for commander, and he's like, look, can I have these cards? You can look through my binder and just take some stuff that you want for decks. And I'm looking through the binder, and he's got some commanders. And I just thought Edgar was always a cool commander because I like the whole Eminence thing. I like tribal. I like the idea that you can just have this swarm of vampires just coming at you. Reminds me of the good old Blade days. He said you can have Edgar if you promise to build a deck, a commander deck for him. So I said, you know what? Fine. And he said, great. I'm going to run home. He got me some other cards like that come in the precon. Lycia. We're going to go in. Did I put this in order? Look at me doing stuff in order. But we got everything just like highest CMC down. Butcher of Malakir. Like you have to have a Butcher of Malakir in any vampire commander deck because it's just too good. We threw a Kazarov in it because I had good memories with this at the Dominaria pre-release. It did really well for the wife and I in our two-headed giant. You know, you slam this guy down and just start panging all their creatures, and life's good. This is Nirkana Revenant. So my buddy JD got me this for my 30th birthday. Hey, here's a little card for you I got. And then like inside the card was a card. But Nirkana's pretty awesome. Gives us additional swamp ramp, which I'm probably gonna have to update my mana pool because I haven't played many games with her in the deck yet. Dude, if someone gets me a card, it's going in a deck, it's never leaving the deck. Then we have the classic Austere Command. You gotta have some board wipes. What's nice about Austere Command, right, is that we can have it target stuff bigger than our vampire tokens and a lot of our creatures. And then we can get rid of annoying enchantments, artifacts, all that fun stuff. Or if we just want to wipe the whole board of creatures, do that too. We got Bloodlord of Vaskoth. He's kind of cool because he just gives all of our other vampires Bloodthirst. All of our casted creatures get bigger. Bloodline Necromancer. I just like this because even though they might get rid of one of your lower cost vampires that are annoying, or any vampire, you get this thing early, late game, you're happy to throw that thing in and just get value. Vampires are fun. Now this I put in Bishop of the Bloodstained because it's foil, as you can't tell on this video. It's pretty cool. It enters the battlefield, target opponent loses 1 life for each vampire, so that could in a way be a kill spell for someone. That's why I've got that in the deck. Anawan, the Ruin Sage. This guy has single-handedly won me games, especially when you're in those 1v1 scenarios. The board may be pretty cleared of creatures, and what happened is I had one creature, they had a creature, they're swinging for the win next turn. I draw him, throw him down. They only have non-vampire creatures, more often than not. Had to sacrifice their only creature. Next turn, swing for the win. Felt good. And then we got Malakir Blood Witch, which my buddy gave me, and I had dumbly bought a foil version off eBay for like $2. 4/4 flying, protection from white. And then when this enters the battlefield, each opponent loses life equal to the number of vampires you control, and you gain life. It's a kind of better version of Bishop of the Bloodstained for the same mana, but just having 2 different ways to do a lot of damage with all your vampires, I like it. Then we got Voldaren Pariah. This was also given to me by my buddy Caleb. Foil flip cards are just awesome. Can we see that it's... Nope, you can't. Okay, super. But this is cool. Sacrifice 3 other creatures, which we have plenty of sacrifice fodder in this deck. Transform it, and then when it's transformed, it just says, deal with it. Next up, Blood Baron of Viscopa. This card has kind of won me the game by itself as well, because more often than not, you have 30 life, and you can fairly easily get someone below 10, and having a 10/10 flying lifelink protection from white and black, not too shabby. All right, Bishop of Rebirth. She just rebirths all of our cheap creatures when she attacks. Big fan of that. Then we get into some of the tribal synergies, like Vanquisher's Banner. I like this card because, well, it gives all of our creatures more power and toughness, and whenever we cast a creature spell, we get to draw cards, which we need to do in this deck. We don't have a whole bunch of draw. But then our other tribal synergy, this card has won me the game on like turn 6 sometimes, because you got 6-7 vampires on the board, slam Coat of Arms down, now everything's like 8/8, 9/9. Although other people too, I like this card a lot because if you're playing with someone else who's also in a tribal deck, you and them, right, you're both fighting for that top spot, but if they see you have this on the board, it affects all creatures. So if they're like, all of my merfolk, all of my dinosaurs, whatever it is, get that benefit. So they look at you and they think, I don't like you, but I like you more than I like these other 2. So let's just kill these 2, and then our armies will just remake Battle at Helm's Deep for Lord of the Rings. Then we got Cleansing Nova, because again, it's just good to have board wipes, or if we need to get rid of artifacts or enchantments. Some people in my playgroup do run some pretty obnoxious enchantment control type decks, so I had to throw a little something in there to deal with that. Sanguine Blood, pretty obvious, just awesome synergy for gaining life, making people lose life. I like it. It goes really well with Sanctum Seeker because he says every time you attack with a vampire, Sanguine Blood's like double whammy, you know? Bloodline Vampire. She just says whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on her. She just gets huge. I just had her from some random pack draft thing that we did, so I threw her in there. Ooh, and then next up, one of my personal favorite cards, Twilight Prophet. It's a foil version, again, that you can clearly see. But Twilight Prophet's just awesome. I mean, it's pretty easy to get Ascend in Commander, or to Ascend in Commander, and then beginning of your upkeep, even if you get to draw 1 or 2 cards off of her, the fact that she does damage to each opponent, and you gain X life, I mean, it's just good times for all. Falkenrath Noble, this is a really fun politicking card because it reads whenever Falkenrath Noble or another creature dies, so any creature on the battlefield, target player loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. So if someone's got some board wipe or something going on, you've got some ammunition to help them maybe not do that, or you can politic and say, look, kill that thing, and then I'll also ping this, and you can work some magic in there. So Bishop of Binding, I like because it's just one of those rares that's fun to play with. It's not maybe the most powered. It's pretty easy to deal with. It's only 1/1, but it helps pump up your other stuff, makes combat a bit more exciting, and it's a rare that you're probably not going to play in many other decks, so why not play with it here in a sweet Commander deck? Got another card from a friend, Bloodhall Priest. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, if we've ran out of cards, well, then we can just start shocking stuff. Blood Tracker. Blood Tracker is just a solid card. When it leaves the battlefield, we get to draw cards with its ability, so that's kind of cool. Here's one of our first impulse purchases for this deck is an alternate art Sorin, Lord of Innistrad. I bought this thing off eBay. It was like 16 bucks. You know, it's not a terrible deal, and I really do actually like the art alters. Whoever did this did an awesome job. And I just really like the fact that it is a huge flavor win. Lets us put vampires in, gives us an emblem right away. Then, from my first box opening, the first stuff that I really ever opened on this channel was a Shadows over Innistrad booster box, and we pulled Nahiri, who is also just a huge flavor win for the deck. Big fan of her, so of course she makes the deck. Out of our Ixalan box, we did happen to pull a Vraska's Contempt, and that's just a really solid card to have in Commander, especially with the precons that came out this year, because everyone's rocking the Planeswalkers. At least it makes them have to recast it. It's something. Then we got the classic Diabolic Tutor, so we can tutor for stuff. You need to do that in Commander because these decks are big. Next we got up New Blood. I love cards that let you take control of other players' creatures, especially their commanders, because it's not just removal. They can't say, oh, it goes to the command zone. It's coming to my zone, okay? My fun time zone. And it makes it into a vampire, so then it gets all the synergies and all that fun stuff. Thran Dynamo, get some ramp going on here. Helm of the Host, because who doesn't want multiple Edgars on the battlefield? I want multiple Edgars. Yahenni, because Yahenni's awesome, and we do need to have some type of response to board wipes and such, so the fact that we can make Yahenni indestructible, pretty nice move. The only non-vampire in this entire deck is Mentor of the Meek, because he allows us, even if we get tokens into the battlefield, whenever a creature enters the battlefield with power 2 or less, which is going to be a lot, to draw a card. And again, we need card draw. Mentor of the Meek, solid card. From the precon, we also got Mathis, which we could very well just build our own Commander deck with this. I don't really want to build Mathis curses. 1, because I don't own any curses, and 2, because all of the good cards that work in red, white, black, I've put into this deck, so. Maybe if the collection grows massively, Mathis is going to like take his little trip and do his own thing. But for now, he's hanging out with Edgar and his boys, and we're just chomping on enemies' necks. You know what I'm saying? Stormkirk Captain, another card that just pumps up all of our vampires. Gives them first strike too, which is pretty nice. If all of our creatures don't have first strike, this one doesn't mind. Drana, Liberator of Malakir. Love her flavor text. I will not live as a slave. If you would be free, then fight alongside me. Boom. Let's do it. 2/3 flying first strike, but she reads, whenever Drana, Liberator of Malakir deals combat damage to a player, put a 1/1 counter on each attacking creature you control. So it's like sending the horde at you. No blocks, super. Take 2, and then everything else gets pumped up, and then you're gonna take way more damage. She's just awesome for us. Forerunner of the Legion. I like this card because in a way it's basically a tutor for us to get us a vampire we want. Plus it'll help us pump stuff up if we need to find a combat situation where we can attack more confidently. Because every time a vampire enters the battlefield, including our tokens, something's getting pumped up, so that's just a solid card for us. Mavrin, Fiend, Dusk Apostle. Whenever 1 or more non-token vampires you control attack, create a 1/1 vampire token with lifelink. So at least this one gives us lifelink. You know, Edgar doesn't, so that's alright. Look, we made custom tokens. Here's Edgar's tokens, which I've crossed lifelink off of and wrote black, because then I know it's a black vampire token. And then we've got the normal 1/1 lifelink tokens. Pretty fancy, I know. All right, next up, one of my favorite cards in the deck, Cultivating Vampire. Other vampires you control get +1/+1. Plus, we can tap 5 untapped vampires. Gain control of target creature, it becomes a vampire. So again, it's, hey, nice commander you got there. Nice massive creature you have there. Hey, I really like what you have there on your side of the board. Mind if I take it forever? Thanks. Read the Bones, just a solid black card. Scry 2, draw 2, lose 2 life. We got so much life. Now we're getting into the cards that we got from my brother's collection, which I maybe should start calling it my older cards. Phyrexian Arena, beginning of your upkeep, draw a card, lose 1 life. Worth. That's all I can say. Worth. Profane Procession. I really like this card. I'm glad it fits in this deck. Basically 5 mana to exile target creature is super nice, because if you're getting to that mid to late game, you've ran out of cards, your board's where it wants to be, but now you're just making sure that your opponents don't get some obnoxious threat. Boom. Profane Procession works. Some direct removal just to have it. Murder. Moving on. Just a personal favorite. Vindicate. You can't go wrong with Vindicate. Destroy target permanent. Bontu's Monument. This card I like because most of our creatures are black, so that's nice that it helps us in a way ramp, and then it gets us more life drain synergies, life gain synergies. A Silent Visitor. Not sure that this card actually gets us a whole bunch of value in Commander, but if it does, if we even draw 1 or 2 cards off it, I'm pretty stoked. 3/1 Vampire for 2. This deck does want to have somewhat of a lower curve so that we can get a board presence right away. Because if you put that pressure on your opponents of, hey, we need to board wipe, then they're also usually more hesitant to be playing stuff out. They're like, well, I don't want to play stuff out. I'm just going to get board wiped. And I say, yes, go with that mindset, because then I can throw Coat of Arms or something down, give all my creatures a huge power boost, and then just kill you before you can kill all my creatures. Paladin of Atonement, another rare. Who doesn't like playing rares? Gets bigger, gains its life. Life's good. Gotta play with Legion Lieutenant, just pump all of our vampires, get them big and annoying. Martyr of Dusk. This guy's in here because we do have a couple people in our playgroup that like to play board wipe Voltron strategies, and that guy makes sure that we can at least have a blocker in play so that we can get to our next turn and hopefully still be alive. I actually will be doing a deck tech towards the end of this Manimus series on one of those exact Voltron decks, so stay tuned for that. It's got red and green in it, so it's like Christmassy, but it's also got black in it because it's all about bringing that death to its opponents. Jund, a little Jund action. Anyway, back to this deck. Olivia's Bloodsworn. Who doesn't like a 2/1 flyer? Can't block. We're not blocking with this deck. We're attacking. And she can give all of our other stuff haste. Dusk Legion Zealot, because he's a 2-drop that draws us a card. Probably some upgrade options there. Not important. Bloodcrazed Paladin. This is nice if there's a board wipe and they think, ooh, I've got him now. Because it counts every creature that died this turn, not just ours. This dude can be huge. Flash him in. Thanks for the massive creature. Diabolic Intent. Get those answers that we need to close out the game. Diabolic Edict, because I'm told it's a good card, so I'm going to keep playing it. I don't think I've ever even got to cast this yet, so it's there. Now we get into a sneaky card. People don't see it coming. A little Boros Charm. Make all of our permanents indestructible till end of turn. Thank you for that board wipe. I much appreciate that board wipe, where I now have no obstacles in my way. Feels good. Foil Mind Stone, because good commander players play ramp, draw a card when you don't need it. Awesome. Swift Foot Boots. Classic. Thank you, Masters 25 box. Vicious Conquistador. I actually find it's not too bad, because when you attack with it, each opponent loses 1 life. I've done it where I've attacked with them 3 or 4 times. 3 or 4 life, not a huge amount, but it definitely adds up. Now we get one of the best 1-drops in the deck. Indulgent Aristocrats, just like, hey, there's a fireball coming in. Can you just come with me real quick? He sucks their life force out of them, gives it to all of his friends, who used to be that now dead creature's friends too. It's a tough life, you know, but you gotta do what you gotta do to survive. The ever classic Soul Ring. You gotta have a Soul Ring, right? Especially the old artwork, dude. Dude, if I could ever get my hands on an alpha or beta one, I love this art of Soul Ring. The new one's not bad. I think the masterpiece looks cool, but there's just something about this old nostalgia. Love it. Now we got some other cards. Maybe there's upgrades here. Again, I'm not saying this deck is like the deck tech that you should follow, but I think there's also some pretty awesome cards that maybe you haven't thought or seen before. We got Renegade Map, though. Enters battlefield tapped, tap and sacrifice it. Find a basic land. Traveler's Amulet, kind of the same gist. Legion's Landing, because it's always nice to have the ability to keep creating more creatures. We shouldn't have too much trouble attacking with 3, getting this thing transformed, and then we just got a creature factory. Swords to Plowshares. I don't own any Path to Exiles, so at least we got Swords to Plowshares. Now into the lands. And, I mean, some of the pride and joys of this collection, the OG duels. We gotta have the Plateau and the Scrubland. Still can't get over that I have any of these. I do need the Badlands. I don't have a Badlands. So if I can get a Badlands for the deck, that'd be kind of sweet to have all 3. Some fetch lands for it, but those are upgrades. I'll get into those later. We are running, I can do it. They're not even all the same artwork. Disappointed. Concealed Courtyard. I'm not going to throw these card images up because you kind of get it. Concealed Courtyard, Forsaken Sanctuary, Fetid Heath, because it's awesome. And we pulled it out of our Masters 25 box, so we're going to use it. Orzhov Basilica, Bounce Lands, Caves of Koilos, Old School Apocalypse. I really like the Pain Lands. I'm really surprised these aren't worth more. Maybe it's because they've been printed so many times. But the fact that you don't have to take 1 damage if you don't need the colored mana, that's pretty awesome. Then we're rocking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm rocking 6 planes. Okay, I got 6 planes. These are all the same artwork. Hour of Devastation, full arts. Love full art lands. Oh, I love full art lands. Battlefield Forge, another Pain Land. Sacred Foundry. What up? Guilds of Ravnica, Shockland, Inspiring Vantage, Stone Quarry, coming in tapped, doesn't care what we have to say about it. 2 mountains. Now I'm trying this guy out. Shadow Blood Ridge. Point is, we can pay 1 colorless, tap it, and then it becomes red and black. I want to see how I feel about these with having a couple options like the Pain Lands, Soul Ring, Thran Dynamo, Mindstone. See how those work. Then we got another Pain Land, Sulphurous Springs. Got that 7th edition white bordered one. Dragon Skull Summit, because even though it's a vampire deck, dragons are always awesome. So if I can have a summit of a dragon in the deck, I'm going to do it. Another bounce land with Rakdos Cranium. Canarium. Okay. And then we got our promo from the GP, Mutavault, which is actually pretty awesome. The fact that we can turn it into a vampire, and then it just gets huge. I've had that be super beneficial for me. City of Brass, because it's just nice to be able to get any color we need. And then the classic Commander staple, Command Tower. Nomad Outpost. Bought this card from Alpha Investments off eBay. Thanks, Rudy, for the land for $1. Because I went to an LGS, they didn't have any. I was like, what? What? Unclaimed Territory, naming dragons, no, naming vampires. Terramorphic Expanse, Evolving Wilds. Foil, Myriad Landscape. So there's our deck. That's my first ever Commander deck. There's definitely some upgrades I got to make to it. There's definitely some changes that can happen. But so far, I've had a lot of fun with this. The point, right, is just to curve out somewhat decently, try and get a decent board presence right away, and then run with it. You know, we got all kinds of tokens here so that we can have the accurate one. I don't know if they make foil vampire tokens. That would be a good upgrade for this deck for sure. So let me know what you think of the deck. Let me know what upgrades you think I should focus on or keep an eye on, or what cards I should upgrade over other cards. Always interested in that. A lot of this deck was literally just built from the cards I have in my collection. I haven't put much money into it. It's mostly meant to just utilize the cards I have pulled and opened and been given or gifted. That's why I love Commander. It's not always about min-maxing. It's just about finding a deck that works for you, that matches your personality or whatever you enjoy playing. Boom. There's our Edgar Markov. All right, now upgrades that I have thought about or have an eye towards. I did make a list because I wanted to act like I'm organized. For creatures, the only creature that I'm really wanting to have, because my friend has played it against me and decimated me with it, is Kalitas, Trader of Get. He is an awesome vampire. That's all. I mean, he's awesome. He's a vampire. Those are the only 2 boxes you got to check to get into this deck. Enchantments. Anointed Procession may actually be pretty cool with the Eminence thing, because anytime we're playing and getting a vampire, we now get 2 vampires. Plus, if it ends up not being awesome in this deck, there's definitely going to be another Commander deck that we come up with that it will be awesome. So Anointed Procession's one. Radiant Destiny is just a strong card for any tribal deck, so that could work for us too. Artifacts. I need more mana rocks. I just don't own any of the standard mana rocks that you get in a lot of the precons, or that just most tenured Commander players have plenty of. I really don't. I have a list that when I finally get to an LGS that I can be like, do you have any of these? And the 2 that I've gone to have been just said, nope, we got cleaned out of our Commander stuff, so no dice. And I don't really want to buy that stuff off eBay if I can help it, so I'm just gonna wait. Then you got other things like I need to get more Soul Rings. I need to get more Lightning Greaves, and by more I mean any, because I have 0 copies of Lightning Greaves. All those, like, just those staples that you Commander players know and love. I am working on building up my collection for those. Some spells that I need. After watching game nights and you see stuff like Teferi's Protection and your mind's just blown and you think, wow, that's a really good card. I should have 12 copies of that. And then you go and you look up the price and it's like $40 a card, give or take, if I'm remembering correctly. Either way, it's an expensive card, but that's just on the list of if I ever come across one, come in possession of one, maybe it'll make sense in this deck. Vampiric Tutor, far more expensive than Diabolic Tutor. It's good. Demonic Tutor, same reason. It's just good to have tutors in Commander. But why is everything like demonic? You know, why can't it be like Mr. Misunderstood Tutor. You know, the guy who maybe made some mistakes, but now he's trying to make up for it later in life tutor. Let's just tone it down a bit. Doesn't matter. I digress. Cards that help you find other cards are good in commander decks. Lands, I think my lands are okay. I do think I need to play a few more games and just get a better feel for the mana base. A lot of our cards are just black. So the fact that I have so many options for white and red, I want to do it because I don't want to be waiting on lands, and I haven't ran into that situation where I've needed like 4 black and I only have 1 or 2 on the board. I've usually ran into the issue where I need a white or a red and I just can't get to it. Having all those pain lands and upgrading like with City of Brass and stuff, that's definitely helped. So I think we're okay, but I'm sure there's ways to improve it. Fetch lands would be nice. Having the dual lands in there, definitely just making stuff cleaner, working better. Cavern of Souls is always a strong card. I don't know if I really run into too much counter magic. I don't know if I'd actually need Counter of Souls for the commander deck. I do want to build Modern Humans, and Cavern of Souls would be great in that. So if I get a copy of it or copies of it, it'll end up in a deck somewhere. That's kind of the point. Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth. I definitely gotta get one of those. We don't have many swamp synergies, but we could build around more if we knew we had a Yawgmoth. Something to chew on. Path of Ancestry seems really nice. Again, that's a pretty standard commander card. And of course, any more dual lands, OG duels, who doesn't want those? Those are like MTG Dreams or MTG Keep Dreaming. You know what I mean? So yeah, I hope you enjoyed taking this journey with me and Edgar here, that we could just share our deck with you. Hope you're enjoying all the content. Hope life's treating you well. Let me know again what upgrades you think I should make. If there's any just other commander decks that you love that you think I should make. If you enjoyed this kind of video, I'm happy to make more commander deck tech specific ones. Take some more deck tech tours with you. Either way, hope life's treating you well. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you in the next video tomorrow, hopefully. Peace.